My name is Jade, owner and principal planner of Joyful Events by Jade, and this is The Cookie Table. This is a podcast all about love, marriage, relationships, and the wedding industry, wedding news. Perfect for anyone that is getting married, is married, a wedding vendor, or someone that just loves weddings. Grab your favorite cookie from The Cookie Table, pour yourself a glass of Chardonnay, and let's get into it. Welcome to The Cookie Table. If this is your first time listening, my name is Jade, owner and principal planner for my company, Joyful Events by Jade. I am a wedding planner, and this is my 7th season in weddings as a wedding planner. I named my podcast The Cookie Table because I wanted to make this podcast more about the community of what the actual Pittsburgh Cookie Table is built around. I'm Pittsburgh born and raised. You gotta love a good cookie table. But it's built on the tradition of family and loved ones coming together for the couple that's getting married to show them love. They show up for them on their wedding day. They show up for them in general. So it's a pretty special tradition. And with the Cookie Table podcast, this has been about wedding vendors coming together to tackle issues and hot topics within the wedding industry itself, to showcase themselves, to be a little community within the wedding industry. With that being said, you may be thinking the title of this week's podcast seems a little contradicting. If Jade's a wedding planner, why would she say there's a gross wedding planner complex? Well, let's get into it. So I've been wanting to tell you this story for a while, and I want to get a few things off my chest regarding something that I tried doing earlier this year, and it is the perfect bridge to where I am going next with my next episode that's dropping on June 4th. It's going to be explained even more. But at the end of last year, during my annual season refresh, I felt this really strong urge to do something positive in the local wedding community. The wedding community has a tendency to have a lot of invite-only events, which I can understand to a small extent. Maybe the venue has a capacity limit. Maybe you only have a budget for a certain max of your guest list. So, of course, you're going to invite who you know, who you've worked with before, who you love to work with. However, I have seen multiple colleagues post about being sad about not being invited. Or I would see them and talk about something. They'd say, oh, yeah, I wasn't invited to that one. And they would genuinely be quite bummed out about it. So I was like, okay, this is season 7 for me. It's time for me to do something bigger. I just really couldn't get it out of my head. I was like, I really want to do something, and I really need to do something. So at the end of 2024, I also launched my rebrand design with Angelo Pro Design. So my thoughts were to make a fun, all-inclusive vendor event built around my new designs to launch the brand new wedding season. I wanted to wrap a dance floor with the fun banners that Angela created. I already had basically all the vendors on board. I wanted it to be a longer event because I always say these vendor events are just way too short. Like, I'm sorry, I need longer than 2 hours, okay? I wanted it to be free, but just with a cash bar. I wanted to have a band. I had visioned violins down the hallway upon, people's entrance. I had all of these wonderful, fun ideas in mind. I was so excited. The venue was, of course, my first step, which I had on board at the end of last year. January of this year, I received an unexpected call from someone at the venue saying, our venue coordinator is no longer with us, so I just wanted to confirm the date of your event. Venue coordinators leave all the time, although this one was a shocking one because she was there for a long time. But I was like, sure, yeah. I mean, obviously we're still on, lady, but no problem. The person who called me, she worked higher up in the venue. This venue is always a large building that has businesses in it too. So it's actually not 100% a wedding venue. So there's a lot more people involved. I'm obviously not going to say the name of it. But I will drop a hint. I did get married in this space. If you know, you know, you know. So the space itself means a lot to me. Another week goes by and I get an email from this same woman telling me, well, let's regroup on this once we have a new venue coordinator in place. And then in that email, she CC'd the business operations manager. So he said, okay, well, this event is supposed to be 2 months away. I need to know now if I can have this event or not. Within another week, the business operations manager calls me directly. He says, and I quote, we are not in the business of giving space away for free, and we really don't want just anyone coming in here. We have a preferred vendors list. Obviously, I got married there. I've worked there before. So I said, okay, but let me get this straight. Couples can choose their own photographers, right? They could choose their own florist if they want, right? Yes, he said. Okay, well then why wouldn't you still want to invite all vendors into your space, regardless of a preferred list? Anyone can really still come in here. So my tone is pretty rude and annoyed at this point. This dude gave me the major ick. He was silent for a second. And then he goes, the only way we could give free space would be if you would plan a planners only event for us and bring in more wedding planners. Now, let me say this first. These wedding planner only events, the venue plans them, and it's usually to show us what the venue can offer. Their space, the venue coordinator that they are paying an annual salary plans them, right? Someone that is on an hourly salary basis. So what are you asking me to do this for free? This is a fucking blank canvas of a venue, right? They don't have in-house catering. They don't have exclusive rental partnerships. So I would have to bring everybody in. But you're telling me you want me, a wedding planner, to fully plan a planners only event. Please tell me how that benefits me. Aside from content, literally how? I would be marketing myself to my competition. I said, I have no idea how this would benefit me. I'm sorry. I am not interested in doing this at this time. He very quickly got off the phone. That was it. I was livid. Honestly, I was disgusted. And now I have a bad taste in my mouth at the venue that I got married at. Going back to what the cookie table is all about, this operations manager of the venue clearly only cares about business and what's best for him and the business at the end of the day. Yes, we are all in business. We all have to make money, but the wedding industry has unfortunately, I believe, become very impersonal, which is not how I run Joyful Events by Jade. Obviously, I'm not talking about every venue. I'm not talking about every vendor. But it is becoming very impersonal from mainly the venue side of things. And everything that has happened with this event, getting rug pulled, only helped prove that to me. Only helped prove it. Now, let's backtrack to episode 16 with Rachel Roland. Towards the end of that episode, she mentions the frustrations of there always being planner-only events. She brought this up organically. It wasn't in my outline. It wasn't something I wanted to talk about technically, but I welcome any conversation, obviously, on the podcast. We talked about how photographers have a really large part in bringing revenue to the venues as well, especially someone from her caliber. She will sometimes have people book her at the beginning before they have a venue. So the timing of that conversation I thought was wild because this conversation I had with the operations manager happened right after I talked with Rachel Roland. So it was super eye-opening. Why do venues think planners are their main source of business? We are not. Planners typically only take an X amount of full-scale clients a year, depending on the size of the team. I would say anywhere between 4 to 10 full-scale couples, maybe 5 to 10. The amount of those 5 to 10 couples that come to us already have their venue and date chosen, or they have very, very, very specific venue visions and budgets, which obviously makes it limiting, right? So thinking that we can just take our couples to you when they come to me with, these are some examples. I'm going to give you 2 really strong examples that just happened this year. Couple 1, full scale, comes to me before a venue. I want a gold ballroom. Awesome. You have 2 choices. Couple 2 comes to me. We're going very Bridgerton. Amazing. I'm driving home from our first meeting. One venue immediately comes straight to my mind. We saw it. They said, Jade, you absolutely nailed it. Do we even have to see any more venues? We are just obsessed with this space. This is perfect. I said, fuck it, let's do it. I was like, honestly, no, because this is why I made you come see this space, because I knew it would fit your vision. So tell me how the hell I'm supposed to sell my couple on a hotel room with outdated carpet who wants Bridgerton, all because they invited me to a planners only event. Like, really think about that. Listen, I'm not telling venues to stop these planner only events. We clearly as planners have some pull and weight in these decisions, so I understand it, but it's just not as much as these venues think. Maybe don't make it a planners only event. Maybe make it bigger. Invite photographers next time. Invite florists who you want to see their work in your space for your portfolio. I am asking and urging venues to care just a little bit more about the community as a whole and invite other vendors to your events, and maybe you will start seeing a higher return. I think these planner only events and obsession over wedding planners is creating a complex in some planners who think, honestly, maybe they're better than others. I cannot tell you the amount of community events I've gone to, and I've gotten some pretty mean girl energy from some local planners who, even after years, for some reason won't even look at me. I've never spoken to some of these people before. One time, I even tried to break the ice. And this was like a full vendor event, so it wasn't just planners. But I asked if I could sit next to them in a lounge, and they literally said that the seat was for other people and was like really, really cold and standoffish. So I was like, okay. Again, this is not every planner. I have so many planner friends. You listen to this podcast, you know that. But it can create a complex, I think, in other planners. So going back to the episode with Rachel, it opens up these floodgates to my mind. And I'm like, man, I completely see your point, Rachel. And 95% of our couples, anyways, already have their venue or know the venue that they want. So I'm thinking, damn, screw this. Screw this whole event that I'm trying to do. I cancel it. After this rude conversation with the operations manager, I move on with my life. The very next podcast episode, 17, with DJ Jess, she does a tarot card reading on me and said, this event didn't work out because you were meant to do something bigger. I didn't even realize it at the time, but that something bigger is currently underway and it's happening. Heather Davis Inc. is in my corner helping me bring a brand new business to life. This business does not exist in Pittsburgh. It will have an ode to joyful events. There will be some event planning involved, but that is not the main focus of what this new business is. I am not stopping or leaving Joyful Events by Jade by any means. I do truly still find joy in weddings. My name is in this brand. I just don't want to be burnt out on them anymore. So what's next is I will only be taking on our full-scale couples for 2026 and minimal coordination design clients only if we double book the same date, where there's 2 coordination design clients, which tends to happen a lot. Going back again, to some podcast episodes, number 23 with Heather Davis, we talked about how having a kid changes you and your perspective, and it's insanely true. Family is a very high value for me, and I unapologetically want to be able to spend more Saturdays with my family. Golfing with my husband and Jax when he gets older, because I keep begging Jason, please take me golfing. I want to be part of this. I want to go to Jax's sports games, and I want to go camping. I want to go to wineries with my mom and sister, my best friend. And I don't want to keep staying at venues until midnight, tearing down decor. I'm trying my hardest to set up my happiest future with a better work-life balance for myself and my family and the lifestyle that suits me best. So, my team has already been handling the majority of our wedding day management couples. In other words, our day of couples. So there's no change there. That's still the same. But my right-hand girl, Desiree, she's going to be taking on a lot more. You're going to be seeing a lot more of her. You're going to be seeing a lot more of her this year too. But 2026 is going to be her 4th season with me. And she is more than ready. She's more than ready to do more. So she's going to start taking on her own design clients. My lead planner team will grow a little bit more in 2026. So then they can take more wedding day management couples. If you haven't met Desiree yet, she will be joining me on the podcast sometime this summer. She might not know that yet, but she will be. And you will get to see more BTS content of Des this wedding season too. Heather Davis has done an amazing job keeping this under wraps with me, this new business for my request. But it is now time to start slowly pulling back the curtain to my next adventure. So set a reminder, please, for my next episode dropping on June 4th, where I'm finally going to reveal my new business that's launching this summer. Thank you so much for listening to The Cookie Table.